Yeah,
Hi there. Thank you so much for doing an interview. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about yourself?
sure. Thanks so much for having me. My name is Noah Homsy King, and my artist name is Homsy or DJ Homsy. Um, and I started out producing music in middle and high school, and started DJing in my senior year of high school, and I'm now in my third year. I took a gap year and I'm in my third year undergrad and continue to produce a little bit less than I used to, but DJ more.
Neat. So, what first drew you to EDM?
So the part of EDM that have become really interested in is Amapiano, which is EDM from South Africa, but I do like to DJ a lot of Afro beats and hip hop, reggaeton as well, and a lot of music related to those genres too. And I got into Afro beats more when I left Africa, when I left Uganda, where I spent most of my life. Um, and the Amapiano genre has kind of taken a lot of space in the Afrobeat scene. So I've kind of like been just like taken by the Amapiano wave, so to speak.
That's cool. Would you like to say a bit about like the genre and how it started for people who haven't heard of it before?
Sure. So it from the little I know, it's yeah, started in South Africa as a blend um between house music and local South African music. I know I think they a lot of Zulu is spoken in Amapiano songs among other South African languages. But like night like Afro beats, which come up much more from Western Africa, Ghana and Nigeria, um, they've incorporated a lot of Amapiano into their music. So and since they are like definitely leaders in the Afrobeat scene, um, then they've also like propelled piano forward. Um, and uh, it's I guess I mean it's like a new type of music and like a trend, if you will. But I think it will stay popular and for a long time. And the songs are much more long, drawn out. They're common to be like over 5 minutes, maybe eight even. And they have drops, just like many EDM songs. Um, they're typical to have log drums in them, which is like a bass drum. For those that produce, it's a stock FL sound. And have like start with percussion and with percussion, just like a lot of EDM songs too, prominent shakers around like 110 to 115 BPM.
Neat. So, how did you first become involved with live EDM events? And can you tell me a bit about what you do now?
Sure. I I first became involved with like live events through DJing. When I was producing, I was kind of toying with the idea of live production and kind of performing as a producer, which would be kind of making music live, starting with like drums and instruments, but I never really got to do that. And I think it would still be cool to do that. And to be honest, I guess I do incorporate a little bit of production when I DJ, but I
That's
really
cool.
started out, thank you. I started out DJing in my senior year of high school when the DJ in my I was in boarding school and um It was in the Netherlands because I left from Uganda to go to boarding school in the Netherlands, and that's when I started getting into more Afro beats. So in my when I was in grade 11, um, actually no, yeah, my senior year, the DJ had left in our little boarding school, so then I stepped up to DJ, and I got like a cheap like Hercules DJ Impulse, and then DJ some in school events. What was the second part of your question?
Oh yeah, of course. So what are your involvements now? What are you doing these days?
Okay. So these days, I DJ at UC Davis, a little bit in Sacramento, and I'm trying to do some stuff in the Bay Area, but have not gotten to yet. But I DJ a lot at school affiliated events, or not, but I DJ at times at school affiliated events. Like this Friday, I'll be DJing for the Nigerian Student Association. They're having a fake wedding, which will be quite fun, I think. Like a wedding themed event, and it's like a UC Davis affiliated club, and um, and there's a couple other events affiliated with UC Davis that I'll be DJing at. But for example, um, last Saturday I DJed for like at a party at the women's rugby house. So it's not like an official event, but it was just like someone's house throwing a party. And also DJed downtown um pretty regularly at Sophia's Thai. But I could see myself also doing different places downtown too.
Do you feel like the Davis scene has expanded in recent years?
Well, I had a pretty unique experience because I came, or me, and I think um kind of my year group, which also includes Caden, who I think you will or have already interviewed.
Hopefully, we'll
We kind of
see.
arrived. Okay, we arrived kind of after COVID, so everything was kind of pretty down. And so certainly since I've arrived, things have gone way up because it was right after COVID. But I don't know what it was like before COVID. So maybe it was much more poppin', but um who knows? Yeah, it's definitely increased in my time.
So, can you describe what the scene is like today? Like, what would a party be like if you were describing it to somebody who had never been to an event around Davis?
Okay, well, which type of event? Because there's a pretty big diversity, I would
I
say.
would say probably like a non-school affiliated event, just something you would go
Non-school.
out to for fun. You know, what are the peoples in the venues like?
Okay. Well, there's like so many different types of parties. Like there's if you would go to a frat party, then should I like explain a couple different parties,
That
maybe?
would be great. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Um, if you're to go to a frat party, then you would well, honestly, I've only been to a handful, but you would it would be like inside for the most part. I know there's a few frats that have like outdoor, but um there would be a lot of people. Oftentimes it's difficult to get in because that is, I think, where most UC Davis students who party go to party. And it's can be pretty difficult to get in. You might be charged like $5 to $10 or something. And you will hear EDM mostly, a lot of EDM remixes because it's more recognizable to people to remix a song that they already know. Um, and there'll be a few DJs or like one or more DJs, oftentimes men, and uh, could be pretty packed, but um, and
Yeah, so even though it's a party, it's a pretty commercialized environment.
um, I mean, I think like what would you feel would be I'm not sure if I can answer that. What would you feel would be like indicators of it being commercialized?
I would say that it would come down a lot to the goals of the organizers and the goals of the people who are, playing and running these parties. For you guys,
Okay.
is it more about like the community that you're creating and being able to play this music? Or do you feel like the frats might have the bottom line in mind more than
Okay. Um, if the bottom line is to make money, then um I'm not I think you'd have to ask somebody out of frat. And I guess Caden would be a
that's
good
fine.
person because Caden was a social chair at Sigma Chi. So he would probably know what the goals of their parties are. Because I'm not sure what their goals are. But I think that in my opinion, I think that a lot of them throw parties for like maybe I would guess visibility because they get like a lot of people to come and then they can like maybe have more people trying to join their frat. So I guess that also has some financial implications because they need members to keep running. Um, maybe for I think a lot of it maybe is for like social clout and standing. If like oh they throw the best parties at the most amount of people, then they get like good reputation. Um, but these are all guesses. For the co-ops, which I'm a part of, we have parties as well. Um, I live at the Davis Student Co-op, which and there's multiple co-ops in Davis, and we do also throw parties. And a lot of them are just have fun. I guess I would say the same for Fras. They also just throw parties have fun. But we do try to raise some money at our parties. We have an old cat that is
Oh,
over 18 years of age and we're like trying to like get money for its survival but also um
what's the cat's name?
Zuni
It's
Zuni
cute.
the Lord of Darkness but so we are also trying to make some money with our parties um but I think um
It seems like
the
there's a very different feeling there between the frats trying to get more members and you guys kind of doing it for more like
yeah.
community related stuff.
Yeah, I think we've never really posed parties as like a way to recruit members, although we do that I guess through like posters and tabling. Um, I
It's
do
different
think
because
that
it's about the music at its core, I guess.
it's about what, sorry?
It's about the music at its core versus the frat.
Yeah, yeah. There is more emphasis on the music being like the person like one of my other housemates has been really involved in throwing parties and she does put a lot of emphasis into creating the playlist and cares a lot about that and curating the right kind of vibe that's like fun and also inclusive. I'm also organizing a party at the co-op's reggaeton focus, so I really do want to make my like event like for people that would really enjoy the music and then have like a really fun event. Um, if like the kind of the genre of music is like at the forefront of the party, then hopefully it will attract people that want to like be there for the music and have like a really good event. Um,
Would you say those two types of events draw different crowds or attract different types of people?
yeah, I do think that they draw different crowds. They're advertised differently. They're advertised within different communities. Um, like the people that go to parties at the co-op probably won't go to parties at frats, but there might be some overlap. I think one big overlap is okay, I don't want to speak for him,
It's
but I can just
okay.
my perspective. But the Davis Wave Co, I think, kind of does have quite a bit of has the most overlap between um like kind of in my mind I see it like hippie, like farmy KDVSE people and then like your like general UC Davis party goer, frat party goer. Um, the Davis Wave School kind of can combine those two scenes, which is quite special. But the Davis Wave Co. is an LLC. It's a company. So um, I feel like if you're trying to identify some party that's commercial, like an event thrower that is like commercialized or is commercial, then that um, they may be most fitting in that perspective.
Do you feel
Um,
like, sorry, if this is a fading question, feel free to skip it, but do you feel like
yeah.
they have to make any sacrifices in terms of music or community to get that broad range of accessibility that they have?
Mm,
Or I
uh,
guess to phrase it differently, do you feel like there's anything they have to leave behind to become more mainstreamed like that?
um, hmm, I mean, the parties, I think, um, mm, they may not be like if you're, I think they want to like gain traction and gain visibility and grow. So their events may not be as intimate and like they're just trying to have. I feel like they're trying to have like big events, even though some of them are like in relatively small locations, like the RBU. It's still they promote a lot. They're like really active on social media, which I admire them for. But yeah, that doesn't. It's not the same feel as like a. It's like a small. It's definitely not like underground. In my perspective. Um, but like I think their goals are to grow or and and I think they're said to like be community based um and focus on community. So uh I don't really know exactly what that means to be honest, or like how that is phrased. Um
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I think you can be focused on creating a community, but still have that interesting sort of underlying business growth mindset, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I think they're trying to combine the two, I
Yeah, it's
think.
a very interesting venture. You know?
Yeah.
I did have some questions for you about DJing abroad as well. It seems like you DJ back in Uganda. Is that right?
Mm, yeah.
I mean,
Then you research. Yeah.
I was trying to figure out if you were still doing Davis Raveco because I wasn't sure if I should ask a bunch of questions about them or not. But can you tell me a bit about what that's like and what you do over there?
Um so since I grew up there, I usually go back there for holidays. And so last summer I wanted to DJ there as well. So when I went back, I mean I usually go out to like with my friends when I'm there. And so when I was there, I wanted to DJ, so I went to a couple of different like clubs and bars and lounges and kind of asked like if I could and so yeah, well, he was so not last summer, the summer before that in 2022, I DJed at La Terraza, and then last summer in 2023, I DJed at Bubbles and Otters. Bubbles actually doesn't is not no longer existing. I don't know like why they broke down or something. But yeah, it was really fun to DJ in a different context and like how the music is perceived and received uh here versus over there was pretty interesting too. Yeah.
So, how would you say the scenes over there and in California are different, and the same?
Mhm. I guess the most comparable thing, because is if I compare it like DJing in downtown Davis to DJing in Uganda, because that's like I DJ like at establishments here and over there. Um, but I would say both the teams are pretty competitive.
Hmm.
Um, you, I think maybe DJing is just an easy thing to get into, and so you don't need to agree. You don't need to really prove yourself on any sort of standard apart from whoever you're speaking to. If your Instagram account looks good enough, then they may book you. Uh, and so because of that, it's pretty accessible. So it is kind of a competitive, and both here and there, I feel when I'm DJing at night at Sophia's or at like Otters in Uganda, I feel like I may be also taking away an opportunity from someone else or
Hmm.
something like that.
That's
Um,
interesting. What do you think they're
yeah.
looking for in a DJ? Do you think they're looking for somebody who's, more marketable, or do you think they're looking at like more like your music tastes
Mm.
and, what you specifically enjoy
I
DJing, your
think
style?
yeah, I think it depends on the establishment. For example, in at Sophia's where I DJ, Nix who books me, um, is kind of it does quite focus on the music. I remember him talking like, "Oh, this DJ played this. It wasn't really liked or it wasn't really the vibe, so he didn't book them anymore." And but then he likes the music that this DJ plays, so he'll book them. So I think they are pretty focused on music, but they definitely do kind of. I know that they do have like but they do value a DJ that will bring in a big crowd. For example, at Latin night, they know that that's their biggest night, and they'll really value that as well. But I will say that like other establishments, like for example, Parkside, I feel I got an opportunity to DJ there, but in the way that they were paying, kind of did show me that they were a bit more about bringing in a crowd and making money for themselves through sales of alcohol, etc. Because they were paying like a pretty small upfront payment and then we're gonna offer compensation for every person that I put on a guest list.
Wow, that
And
is interesting.
yeah, and I that kind of puts the DJ as not only a DJ but also a promoter, because you have to like make a big like generate a big guest list to be able to get paid. And then
Yeah,
you don't
that's
only
quite a bit of
prepare a
pressure.
set. Yeah, you don't not only have to prepare a set, but also you have to um bring in like a crowd and prepare a guest list. And I remember, um, yeah, I think like to his credit though, Caden really, I remember having a conversation with him before, and he really kind of didn't like, although he's like, I'm just remembering this, although he's like trying to, I feel like he's just really trying to grow his company, he never or like rarely ever limits what music a DJ plays or dictates what music a DJ should play and lets them kind of have quite a bit of creative freedom, which is cool, because then it lets kind of the DJ like get like express themselves and play the music that they love. Um, and I'm not sure if Parkside would dictate a genre or like only want someone to play top 50, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did.
Interesting, yeah. And I remember it
Yeah.
seems like the Sunrise event is still, anybody can drop in through Davis Raveco, which is great for new DJs.
Oh, like the fact that it was open decks?
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. You don't see that too
Yeah.
much in.
Yeah. It is pretty cool. And but I think you could also take that and like it is really cool. And the fact that it's accessible for people to DJ there. Um, I didn't go to that event, so I don't know exactly how it worked. But also, I mean, I'm not really sure about what happens every event, but you could say that one could argue that they're cutting short on their on paying performers if they're just doing open decks and presumably may or not may not be paying them. Um,
Interesting.
but still, I'm not sure if you had to buy tickets for that event either. So
I think that
I
lets
don't
you
know.
just show up.
Okay,
I
well
haven't,
then yeah, then
that
that
one's
makes
just like sort of a public thing, yeah.
okay.
But yeah, I guess my last couple questions. Do you feel like Do you feel like there's any driving forces behind kind of the commercial edge you've encountered at some of the places you DJ? Or like,
Um,
what do you feel like there's any kind of root causes for why they are that way today?
um, I mean, I guess they're like trying to survive in this economy. I feel like me personally as a DJ, you could also think about like how like the performers themselves and the DJs themselves are commercializing. Um, because I'm also like you kind of when you start out, I was like looking for sets no matter what and not really asking or thinking too much about how much I was getting paid for those sets. And naturally now I do more like think about like how my time is being paid and compensated. Because I'm also thinking about this more as a like as a part-time job or as a kind of viable way of like surviving, not necessarily as a full-time gig, like full-time thing, but um as like a way to generate revenue. So I also feel like I myself have commercialized and have been demanding more compensation for my services.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you
well,
feel like you need to commercialize as you expand, or do you feel like that's more like a choice DJ to DJ?
I think it's a choice. I know some DJs that are really that are some are really good. Like for example, Kataoka, or his DJ name is Kataoka. He's part of Prod Davis as well, and I'm talking to him, and he does not want to commercialize at all, and wants to keep it as something he does for his passion, even though he spends a lot of time and energy on it. He just made the choice to not really like pursue money for DJing. Um, and um, I guess you'd have to interview him and talk to him about his perspectives. But I do like feel for myself, even like I love doing it, but I'm growing older, I'm becoming more independent, and so I want to be able to kind of monetize my time um, as
Absolutely.
I become more independent. So it's forcing me to commercialize a bit.
Mm. Do you feel like the sort of more commercialized, do you feel like these more commercialized environments have added or taken away from or changed the scene?
Um, I think uh I feel like it's inevitable that they occur, but um mm, I think and it also really depends what kind of events you're looking to attend and go to. Um, I think they have neither added or taken away because there are kind of more like less commercial events. Like the KDVS has been going on for a long time, still hosts a lot of events which are pretty non-commercial. I feel like they do things the same as they did like when like pretty much when they're founded or something like that. Um, so if you're looking for that, you can find that. Um, and if you're looking for going to an establishment or going to a frat or like attending a Raveco event, you can also find that. And they kind of do vary with like by commercialization. Um, so yeah, I wouldn't say that they add neither or take away because there's enough of each event to satisfy the needs of the party goers. Um, and I think the most underground event probably that I've went to was an under the bridge um EDM rave put on by Ron Mexico. That was like it didn't. I think the fact that it only happened like once in 3 years probably like also speaks to like how non-commercialized it was. Um, and it was quite fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. That was the questions I had for you. Is there any other thoughts you wanted to give before I stop recording?
Um, let's see. Yeah, I think um Davis as like a city as well not is like pretty small and not like too commercialized because we're not like in Sacramento or the Bay Area. So the events are not like super commercialized. But I think it's cool that you're doing this because I haven't like thought too much about how um the like music scene is necessarily commercialized. Um, but there's a lot to unpack about it, and okay, I could keep discussing this for a lot longer. But yeah, I appreciate you talking to me about it.
Yeah. Right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and stop.